Okay, we're going to try something completely different for this video, and it's something I know absolutely nothing about. So, not because I don't know anything about it, in terms of, obviously it's a computer, I know about computers. What I don't know is anything about this particular specific computer. I don't know what's inside it, I don't know whether it works, I don't know where it's come from. Well, I know where it's come from, I bought it on eBay, but I don't know who made it. I know absolutely nothing about it. But the one thing that's really interesting about it is it's tiny. It's really small. This is a 3.5 inch hard drive. It's probably the same volume as 3 of those, 2 high and 1.5 deep. So it is absolutely tiny. It's called an M series, but there are no other kind of manufacturer's marks on it. There's a logo which is kind of like a mouse. It's got the auction stickers on it. It's quite well, the auction sticker does say there's no hard disk, so I'm guessing they've taken it apart, and in fact there is a bit of a rattle, so I think maybe some of these clips are broken off. But let's have a quick look at the design. There's a couple of vents here, indicator lights. I presume this is the power switch. On this side we've got 2 fire wires, which is interesting. We've got a Ethernet port, audio in and out, and we've got a power in. It doesn't say what the voltage is, so we're going to have to just experiment. Around the other side, around the front, this must be got what is presumably an infrared window, and we've got a laptop style optical drive. This one is just a CD. There's no CD writing or DVD. It's got quite a lot of ports considering how small it is. There's a mouse port, keyboard port, 2 video outs, and interestingly it's got a 1/4 inch threaded one here, so it looks like you could mount this on a tripod vertically, which is interesting. Around the back we've also got VGA serial and parallel ports, 2 USBs and a modem as well. There is a sticker here. It says ATOS model EZ-I+. We'll have to look that up. Only to be used with manufacturer's specified adapter. Now unfortunately it doesn't say what voltage it should be using, which is unfortunate. There's no other indicators as to what it should be using. On the bottom there's 2 relevant things. There's a release catch here, which I presume is for the optical drive. Yes, it is. So the optical drive comes off. Oh look, it reveals a memory compartment. 32 megs times 64, so this is PC100 256 megabyte module. So that gives us an idea of how old it is, what kind of processor it might be using, which is interesting. There is another cover here. I'm guessing that is for a CMOS battery, would be my guess. Let's open it up and have a look. Still no clues about voltages yet. Looks like when they put the case back together it hasn't quite lined up on this side, which is maybe why there's a plastic rattling around inside. So let's open up this extra compartment, see what's inside. Ah, no. So that's access to the modem, I suspect. So different areas would have different modem specifications depending on the local carrier, phone carrier. So that's probably what that is. There was a brass insert for that, wasn't there, underneath? So although it's made out of what feels like quite cheap plastic, maybe it isn't as cheaply made. I'm intrigued that it's got 2 firewire ports. That's a little bit unusual. And it's got a lot of I/O for such a small computer. What I think we should do is put it back together. Oh look, yes, plastic, oh, and a screw. A screw's fallen out. So somebody's been inside here, probably to remove the hard drive. There's also rattling there, which is not good. Oh look, Office 97 Professional Edition. Nice freebie. So another bit of plastic has fallen out. No more rattles. Let's put it back together. I'm just going to do a quick quick Google search, see if I can find out what the M series is by this mouse related company. See if we can find out what voltage it needs to run. So I haven't been able to find anything that is remotely close to that model number or that product manufacturer ATOS. So what we're going to do is use a universal power supply that's got a switchable voltage on it. We're going to start at the low end and then we're going to go up. I'm guessing it's made with laptop style components given the small dimensions and the fact that it's already using a laptop style CD-ROM drive. So if we use a laptop adapter, that would make sense. We just need to find the right size connector. So we need to also, as well as getting the voltage right, we need to make sure the polarity is right. Now we can't do that very easily. Look, that one goes in there. On this kit, it's an F fit. So if we start off at 15 volts, what we can do to check the polarity is most barrel style connectors are center positive, not center negative. There's a few exceptions like the ZX Spectrum. So what we should be able to do is use a multimeter in continuity setting to check. So if we have an earth like on the edge of the parallel port, I'll just put that on there, and if I touch the center pole we shouldn't get continuity. We haven't. Okay, so this looks like it is center positive. I'm just going to double check by touching the edge, not the center of the connector. Yeah, so basically it is definitely center positive. So as I said, we're going to start with 15 volts and we'll just go up a notch every time we do a boot cycle to see whether we can get it to boot. I'm guessing it's going to be around 19 volts, but we'll try 15 to start with. Obviously we don't want to start 24, we don't want to blow it up. Now, for such a small computer we need some appropriate accessories. So I've got out my smallest keyboard, a nice little Cherry compact one, probably from a point of sale device. I haven't got a small monitor, so we're going to use a standard Dell VGA 19-inch mouse, Microsoft mouse. So let's just get it all wired up and then we can attempt to boot it for the first time. We've got some audio out, so we might as well make use of that as well. We're not going to get any sound until we've got an operating system installed. And we're not going to get an operating system installed until we have a hard disk, but at least we can see what happens. So all we need to do is attach 15 volt power supply, which goes in this corner here, and see if we have blue smoke. Okay, well we have life. We've got some power indicators. Okay, we also have output on the VGA screen. Okay, so some of that flew past me, but we've got to the boot failure because there's no hard drive. We knew that. So it's a Celeron processor of some kind. We don't know the exact details just yet. Let's just power cycle it again and see if we can get into the BIOS. F1, F2 and escape didn't get me into the BIOS. This has got me a boot chooser. I think I saw that it was the delete key to get into the BIOS. So let's try that on the next boot. It is. Okay, so it's an AMI BIOS. Version 1.52, copyright 2001. Okay, so that gives us a rough age of the system. It suggests it's an Intel 810 system. We saw that it was a Celeron. What else have we got? We haven't got any other identifying marks on there, no branding. Date's wrong, obviously. because the CMOS battery is probably dead. No floppy disks installed. Base memory, it's got 256 megs of RAM, so that's that single SODIMM that we had in the bottom of the case. There's no second memory module by the looks of it. Hard drives have not been recognised. There isn't a physical hard drive, but it hasn't recognised the optical drive either. Now that's probably the primary slave, I'm guessing. I doubt it's going to be on the secondary thing, but the fact these are already on auto means that we don't need to do anything with those. Let's look at the advanced CMOS. So quick boot is enabled. We might turn that off if we want to get some better views of how the boot process is going. So the first boot device can either be disabled or can be the CD-ROM. CD-ROM's already selected as the second boot device. Nothing else there is interesting. It's defaulted to NTSC for the video output. Let's just change that to PAL just because we're in Europe. Okay, this is a very safe set of defaults for this BIOS. There's an option for auto-detecting hard disk, so we're going to put a hard disk in here. Auto configuration with optimal settings. That's probably the best way to go in terms of making sure it's going to run as quickly as it can. Okay, but for now, let's just save without, exit without saving. So, success on the first boot. 15 volts is enough to get it going. It might not be enough when there's a hard drive in. Optical drive opens and closes, so that's good. Okay, so what we need to do next is turn it off, take it apart, see what kind of hard drive it takes. It's going to be an IDE 2.5 inch, I'm pretty sure, but let's just go have a look. We'll take these stickers off at some point because that's going to impede the airflow. But first of all, we need to work out how to get into it. There's one screw here. Were there any screws? There's two screws here. And then there's a screw. There's a few screws on the bottom half of the casing. And then round the back there was also a couple of screws on the top half of the casing. So let's see if we can open this up by starting to take some of these out. And if we're really lucky, they're all going to be the same length. We don't have to worry about getting them back in. So there's the first one. It's pretty similar to the one that fell out of the casing, although this has got a beveled edge, so this looks like it was one of the hard drive screws. This screw's a little bit loose. I'm guessing it's been taken out before. It also looks like it's the same length as that one. Because it's got a dome shaped roof, it's wobbling around all over the place. Three screws. So that's definitely loosened the front of the casing. And I think we just need to take the ones off the bottom half, would be my guess. Again, it's the same length, which is convenient. So let's try this one here. So we know one thing, we know it actually boots, which is nice. So I'm guessing this is going to be a Pentium 3 Celeron. Okay, it looks like actually, it looks like it's the top part that's flexing, not the bottom. So you probably need to take these extra two screws off as well. And in fact, those two are the only ones that have got arrows attached to them. So maybe they are the two most important ones. It's possible we've taken out too many screws. Can you see he's got these little arrows like on Sony laptops where you take the keyboard off. So there's going to be a cable for this, there's going to be a cable for the fan. I think think we have all the screws out that are going to be holding the case together. Okay, so this side is definitely come free. Yep, looks like it's come free all the way around. And the case goes that way. There we go. So a very compact little motherboard. There is the caddy here for the hard drive, which is nice. And it's got a captive IDE cable, 44 pin, definitely a laptop hard drive, definitely not room for a desktop hard drive. So what else can we see? I'm just gonna, do I risk disconnecting the top? I'm not going to. Can we see what is written on this chipset? So under here is going to be the processor, and look, it's socketed. So it's possible we could actually upgrade the processor in this, although I'm not sure what the cooling solution is going to be able to cope with. But interesting. All right. Let's get a hard drive. Okay, so I've got a Toshiba 30 gig IDE hard drive. This is an Apple one, as it happens. But I've just noticed this connector is very narrow, as in this way. I haven't counted the number of pins, but I'm now a little bit concerned that it's actually not a standard 44 pin. Okay, that's really interesting. So I've taken off the ribbon cable from the motherboard, just to have a little bit closer look at it. And do you know what? It is the right kind of 44 pin connector. So I'm a bit worried the caddy is not going to go back in. It came out this way. There's a screw hole there which lines up, but there isn't one here. There is one on the, oh, there's two on the side. So yeah, it should be secure enough. Hard drive's got to go in this way around. It looks like it screws in from the side, so let's line those up. So the screw that fell out was this one, which should be the right size to go in there. Indeed it is. Sits nice and flush. There's no screws on this side because these two little recesses that fold over to support it on this side. Just need one more screw in here. Okay, I've got one that goes in that matches that. It's not the right colour, but it's only bothering me a little bit. So now we need some screws that are going to hold the actual caddy in place. We don't know what size they are. There aren't any original ones to compare it with. It might be the same as the case screw, so let's just try one. Yep, it's the same size thread. So I think I should have one of those in here. Yep, perfect. So I have a few of those available. Let's get this back where it should be. So this is keyed as well, so hopefully we should be able to get this on without doing it wrong. There we go. So the little bit of spring that's in the IDE cable's wanting to push it out of alignment, which is frustrating. Got one in, that will help. So I'm pleasantly surprised by the build quality. You know, it's not IBM levels, but it's not been completely thrown together super cheaply. There's definitely kind of like a plan. So this screw doesn't line up at all. It's just those two on the end, so maybe that's not supposed to line up. Maybe there's a different size bracket that was supposed to go in there as well. A different kind of module maybe. But these two on the side have lined up really well. The cable feels like it's in the right place. It's a bit unstable because I haven't got the optical drive in. Let's put that back in. There you go, that makes it a lot easier, a lot more stable. All right, let's put it back together. All the screw holes line up pretty well. I don't think it's going to be a problem getting it back together. Just going to put a few in around the edge. We can take that optical drive back out now so we can access those two screws at the bottom. But it was just annoying me that it was sliding around everywhere. So obviously this isn't going to have any dedicated graphics. It's got the 810 built-in Intel graphics, which are perfectly good for desktop and very, very, very light 3D work. Which is all this was going to be doing in its lifetime. I've made it rattle again. Is there still something in here? The missing screw, maybe. Screws are bad because they are electrically conductive. We don't want it shorting out anything important, or worse, causing a fire. If there's a bit of plastic tab, then I'm happy with that. And then one more. I'm guessing it's the other hard drive caddy screw. In fact, there it is, look. It is indeed the other hard drive caddy screw. So that's my use of it. And this is the one that should be. Now they match. I am much happier. So I'm not sure why these two holes don't line up. As I said, I think maybe there was a different design at one point. Doesn't kind of matter. Okay. No rattles this time. So I was thinking Pentium 3 and Celeron processor. I was thinking maybe XP, but we're limited by 256 megabytes of RAM. It's only a CD-ROM drive, so maybe Windows 98 ME or even Windows 2000 would be the most appropriate operating system for this little gadget. What are your thoughts? Put a comment down below. I know what I'm actually going to do, but I'm happy if you want to disagree with me. There we go, so we're all back together. This corner's a bit loose. I think maybe there's a catch there that's missing, or a screw further inside. That screw doesn't hold those two together. So we're now assembled with a hard drive. Now I don't know what's on that hard drive. It may be something, it may be nothing. There's a good chance it was taken out of a dead Sony Vaio, so it might have a really weird install of XP on it. Okay, we're all connected back up together. Got a hard drive in there. Let's see if the BIOS can detect it. Okay, so we're into the BIOS. We didn't find a CMOS battery, so there is more to explore. There's no floppy drive installed, correct. So let's go to auto detect hard disks. Okay, so it's correctly identified the hard disk and it's correctly identified the CD-ROM. So we're onto a winner already, so that's good. Is it going to save it though without the correct CMOS battery installed? Don't know. Let's just give it something to play with. So it's going to boot from the IDE drive first. We'll see what's on that drive. Then it boots from the CD-ROM. Smart. Let's just enable that. It will be a plug and play OS, and we do want bus mastering to get the best performance out of the hard drive. Serial port B is probably this infrared on the front, isn't it? So let's see what happens. Is there anything on this hard drive? No. That's fine. That's what I was expecting. So the fact that this came with Office 97 in the optical drive makes me think we should be Windows 98 ME or 2000. Let's try 2000. This is most likely been in an office. So that's an operating system that's appropriate for that. All right, as you can see, we're loading Windows 2000 Professional. This first bit takes a little bit of time as it tries to load all the different drivers for all the different types of storage you can think of. We'll do a jump cut. Okay, so to set up Windows, press Enter. So that's what we're going to do. There's nothing on this drive. It must have been wiped. It's 40 gigs. It's a bit big for the... oh, it's got a partition on it. Let's delete that. So we've got a nice empty disk now. So 40 gigs is probably a bit big for this. The fact that it's an 810E chipset means that this potentially could take Coppermine Core Celerons and Pentium 3s. We probably need to take these stickers off quite soon. Windows 2000 seems perfect for that. Those processors came out around 2000. Windows 2000 came out in February 2000. So I think this is going to be the most age-appropriate operating system to have on there. I thought the noise was the fan. Maybe it is. It could be the optical drive spinning up. Let it warm up for a bit and then that will help to get the stickers off anyway. Stickers come off fairly well, probably because of the heat. So I nearly managed to get both stickers off without leaving any residue. There's just a little bit left of this sticker. So I don't recognise this logo. So I'm guessing this is a generic kind of Taiwanese produced computer that was sold onto different brands in different parts of the world. But a quick Google couldn't find either ATOS, the label that's on the back, or the model number, which is unusual. Normally something shows up, sometimes under a different vendor. So it's a little bit unusual. If you know what this is sold under in different markets, if you have a brand name available, please let me know. Okay, we're about an hour in. It's taken that long to format the hard drive and copy over the installation files. I'm going to do a reboot now. So Windows 2000 always took a long time to install. You can see why provisioning using something like Norton Ghost took off about this time. It would have been much quicker to do that. We are working here with a Celeron processor, a laptop style optical disc, and probably a 4200 RPM drive as well. So, you know, from a performance system point of view, this is not the fastest system we're ever going to see. So I'm not surprising it's taking a while, but definitely we had an image of that drive, we could provision it, it would be much quicker. So it's an Intel 810E chipset. It should just have those on the disk already, I would have thought. Although they all came out around the same time, so maybe they're not available. Okay, you can hear the fan going like the clappers. We've got to the end of the installation. Let's see what happens. How successful are we going to be with the drivers? So we still don't know what CPU's in here. We know it's a Celeron, we don't know what speed. Okay, so recognise the display correctly because it's set the correct resolution. Okay, there we are. It's worked. Perfect. Let's just see. I do love this icon set. I think it's just really clean. It says Intel Celeron, doesn't say what it is exactly. 256 megs of RAM, that's all fine. Service Pack 1. Nice. So, quick introduction there to this slightly weird and obscure mini computer. I'm thinking we can do some upgrades on this. For a start, I don't like this black optical drive. I'm sure we can get a silver one to match. I don't think we can max the memory out because the 810 chipset can only support 256 megs per socket, and there's only one socket, so I think we're maxed out on memory. CPU, we don't know what's in there yet, but we can definitely get a 133 frontside bus Pentium 3 in there if the cooling can cope with it. And this hard drive, we could definitely do something with that. We could put in a parallel ATA to SSD converter and speed things up enormously. But the question is, how much do you want to spend on it? Because, you know, I think actually its simplicity is one of its beauties. It's small, it's compact, it does everything. So I'm tempted to actually not do many of those things. This is bothering me a little bit, so we might have to try and find a silver optical drive. But otherwise I'm actually fairly happy with that, and for the price I paid for it, I think it was a little bit of a bargain. So there you go, first looks at the ATOS M series model EZ-I Plus. If you know anything about this or what other brands it's sold under, please let me know, and then we can get some information out there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to, and if you want to see this again, let me know, because I don't have a pressing need for it. It's not going to be a gaming computer, and obviously we can't upgrade the graphics. So, so if you want to see this again, please let me know, and have some suggestions what we could use it for. I've got a couple of ideas, but let's see what you guys think as well. Right.